Here are facts about Inauguration Day that you did not know. This will be only the second time in history that Inauguration Day will be on Martin Luther King Jr. Day. The first time was during Bill Clinton's second inauguration in 1997. Barack Obama's 2009 inauguration still holds the record for the highest inaugural attendance of nearly 2 million people on the National Mall. These 6 outgoing presidents did not attend the inauguration of their successors, with the most recent being Donald Trump. Trump will be the first president to take office with a felony conviction. The first televised inauguration was Harry S. Truman's in 1949. Bill Clinton's 1997 second inauguration that I just mentioned was the first to be live streamed on the internet as well. Franklin D. Roosevelt's 1937 inauguration was the first to take place on January 20th following the ratification of the 20th Amendment, shifting Inauguration Day from previously March 4th. The first U.S. presidential inauguration for George Washington took place on April 30th, 1789, because delays in counting electoral ballots and travel prevented a March 4th ceremony. He also gave the shortest inaugural address on record with just 135 words. William Henry Harrison delivered the longest inaugural address in 1841, which lasted nearly 2 hours in cold weather. But Ulysses S. Grant's second inauguration in 1873 was marked by freezing temperatures, causing food, champagne, and hundreds of decorative canneries to freeze. Theodore Roosevelt wore Abraham Lincoln's ring during his second inauguration in 1905, lent to him by John Hay, who had been Lincoln's secretary. The president's own Marine Band has played at every inauguration since Thomas Jefferson's in 1801. Abraham Lincoln's second inauguration in 1865 was the first to include African American participants in the parade. At President Andrew Jackson's 1829 inaugural, guests feasted on ice cream and cake, broke dishes and glasses, and generally wreaked havoc on the White House and its interiors. Calvin Coolidge was the first and only president to be sworn in by his father, who was a justice of the peace after President Harding's death in 1923. Calvin Coolidge's 1925 second inauguration was the first broadcast nationally by radio. Franklin D. Roosevelt's first inaugural address in 1933 included the iconic line, "The only thing we have to fear is fear itself." James Buchanan's 1857 inauguration was the first to be photographed. John F. Kennedy was the last president to wear a top hat during his inauguration in 1961, ending a long-standing tradition. John F. Kennedy's inaugural address in 1961 featured the memorable quote, "And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country." 9 intra-term inaugurations have occurred due to the death or resignation of a president, with ceremonies conducted without pomp or fanfare in these cases. The presidential oath, 35 words long, is a solemn promise to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution. President Warren G. Harding became the first president to ride to and from his inauguration in a car in 1921. Reagan's 1981 inauguration featured 3 tons of red, white, and blue Jelly Belly jelly beans. The blueberry flavor was created for this occasion. That's actually crazy. Ronald Reagan's first inauguration in 1981 holds the record for the warmest inauguration day at 55 degrees Fahrenheit, while his second in 1985 was the coldest at 7 degrees Fahrenheit. Sarah Hughes became the first woman to administer the oath of office when Lyndon B. Johnson was sworn in aboard Air Force One in 1963. Which, yeah, that's crazy. And I was told growing up that I'm related to Lyndon Baines Johnson, that he's an 8th cousin, which honestly, I think I'm gonna maybe do a video on trying to research if that would actually be true. I can't verify it, so I think it'd be a cool video. Since Ronald Reagan's first inauguration in 1981, the ceremonies have been held on the Capitol's west front to cut costs and provide more space for spectators. The first president to be inaugurated in Washington, D.C. was Thomas Jefferson in 1801. The Joint Committee on Inaugural Ceremonies, which is composed of 3 senators and 3 representatives, has been responsible for the swearing-in ceremonies since 1901. The presidential oath of office is constitutionally mandated and begins at noon on the day of inauguration. The presidential oath of office is the only element of the ceremony required by the U.S. Constitution. There have been 59 inaugural ceremonies to mark the commencement of a new 4-year term to go along with the additional 9 that I mentioned earlier for partial terms. terms. When January 20th falls on a Sunday, the president is sworn in privately that day and has a public ceremony on the following Monday. This occurred in 1957, 1985, and 2013. Above the West Front inaugural platform are 5 large United States flags, including the current 50-star flag in the center and earlier variations of the national flag around it. Flags across federal buildings will be flown at half staff on Inauguration Day this year due to President Joe Biden's prior directive honoring former President Jimmy Carter, who recently passed away at the age of 100, which is impressive. Franklin Pierce, inaugurated in 1853, was the only president to affirm rather than swear the oath of office. George Washington remains the only president inaugurated in 2 different capital cities, New York City in 1789 and Philadelphia in 1793. In 1825, John Quincy Adams became the first president sworn in while wearing long trousers instead of colonial-era breeches. The first inaugural ball was held for James Madison in 1809, becoming a tradition for celebrating new presidencies. January 19th, 2025, the day before the inauguration, also the day TikTok gets banned, Trump will hold a victory rally at Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C., which is a venue that seats more than 20,000 people. John F. Kennedy's 1961 inauguration was the first to broadcast in color to millions of people. Lincoln's first inaugural address included an appeal for unity, emphasizing the better angels of our nature to preserve the Union. Lincoln's second inaugural address in 1865 is famous for, "With malice toward none, with charity for all." The inaugural events include a luncheon and an inaugural parade down Pennsylvania Avenue to the White House. The inaugural luncheon, that started in 1953, offers a chance for the new president to interact with Congress members. And the inaugural parade features representatives from every state celebrating the national unity and diversity. The Constitution does not specify the exact words for the vice presidential oath, and several variants have been used since 1789. Vice President Andrew Johnson slurred through his 1865 swearing in because he was intoxicated, allegedly from drinking to numb his typhoid fever symptoms. William H. Taft's inauguration in 1909 was moved to the Senate chamber due to a blizzard. And there you have it.